Hello, 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 and welcome to this class. We are here today for some holiday survival skill building, staying energized, centered, and sane during the holidays. So we're more than surviving, I guess we're thriving, which is exciting. And it's such an important topic because, yes, this can be a really beautiful time of year with pretty lights and gift giving and more generosity than usual. Lots of love and family and friends, lots of celebration happening. Hey, Amanda, I'm so happy you're here. And we all know the other side of this coin, too, that it contains a lot of challenge during the holidays. It can contain a lot of challenge, doesn't it? Like grief and feelings of loss can be really heightened during this time of year when we wish the people that we've lost could still be here to celebrate with us. Or maybe you've just recently experienced something difficult and it's really hard to stomach celebrating anything right now. Difficult to celebrate without sacrificing your authenticity and what you're actually feeling. Or similarly, you might be feeling fantastic and the people around you are having a really hard time, so you're feeling like you have to kind of shrink it down for their benefit rather than expressing the fullness of your happiness or whatever you're experiencing. Either way, it doesn't feel very good to live out of alignment with who you are and what you're feeling. It feels lonely to do that, and you don't need to. That's why we're here. So another big thing is seasonal depression this time of year. It's a huge conversation, more and more every year, I feel like. And especially up north, it gets so cold. You know, we're in the dead of winter. Everything around us is dying. It's time to let go of what's no longer working for us. It's time to let go of what's no longer working for us. And it's a time to hibernate and kind of like reflect on the cycle that's ending, which is not usually an easy thing for people to make a ton of time for. But it's important so that we can kind of gain some new clarity about what we've experienced and plan for the next year, the next cycle. And winter can be a really painful time. It's also a beautiful thing when we learn to embrace it and work with nature's cycles. As if that weren't enough, there's a ton of things fighting for our attention at this time of year. On top of our normal responsibilities, we shop for gifts, wrap them, send them. We're going to parties. We're cooking things for these parties. We have a million places to be at once, a million ways to donate our time and resources to people who need it. And we have a lot of choices to make that aren't always straightforward or easy. And in the meantime, a lot of people are spending more and working less. It can be a really stressful season financially. If we are choosing to work, sometimes we feel like we're missing out on the family celebratory time with our loved ones. Work-life balance is a challenging thing during the holidays, even for people who haven't nailed during the rest of the year. There's just so much going on. And speaking of balance, how many times have I seen balance touted as like an excuse to gorge on a bunch of food and drink during the holidays? And don't get me wrong, okay, I'm not against celebrating and indulging during the holidays. Trust me, I partake in festivity, okay? So long as you really feel amazing and comfortable with the choices that you're making. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? And that's just not usually the case. People struggle a lot with food and drink at this time of year. And I used to be a shining example of this. Now, the hardest part about food and drink is kind of navigating those sideways glances when I'm not going full out frenzy feast with people, which brings me to the next point. The cherry on top, the straw that often breaks the camel's back during the holiday season is being around people like difficult family members or in-laws or whoever who seem like your total opposites, the big naysayers, the people who don't get you or what you stand for at all. Does it sound familiar? Anyone? We all have people like that in our lives. And it is possible to skip through all of these challenges playfully, joyfully, observing what's going on. Yes, even the things like sadness, grief, anxiety, the really hard, challenging things that can come along with this time of year. And it's possible to transform yourself into like a freaking energetic string of lights that just lifts up every room that you walk into. Or, you can be that strong, stable, grounding anchor that makes everyone feel safe and at home. You could be both of those things on different days, or even during the same day if you want. But whoever you choose to be, you will have an impact on every single person and situation around you when you implement these things we're about to talk about. If you're here, it's actually your duty to lead the way for the people that you love. I fully believe that. Thank you for being here. So, you're going to be getting some really simple strategies and concepts to make it happen for you today, and I'm excited. I'm also talking really fast because there's actually a lot of content that we have to get through. So we're going to start with some ground rules, and first, heads up, I'm not going to be pausing for comments as they come in, just to protect the integrity of the replay for people who aren't here with us live. It makes it easier to keep our attention focused on what we're talking about, but I will pause at certain points to check back for comments, questions, address anything that's been coming up. So please say hi, let me know that you're here. I know that I've already seen some highs. I'm so excited to have you here. Please, please, please leave your comments and questions as we go. I absolutely love to hear from you, and same goes for you if you're watching the replay. Please say hi, leave your comments. I really, really, really want to hear from you. So now on to the ground rules, okay? 1, this is a judgment-free zone. Only stay here with us if you're willing to accept the views of others and suspend your judgment for the next hour or so, okay? It would be absurd for me to ask you to stop making judgments entirely forever. It's a really natural part of being a human. We're making judgments all the time. It's just what we do every day without even realizing it. Our judgments can actually give us really good insight into ourselves. So by all means, if you notice yourself making a judgment about something, leave a comment, let us know through the lens of curiosity and questioning though, rather than taking your judgment as a fact, okay? Turn it into an observation. Everyone's honesty and curiosity are very, very welcome here, okay? That's the first ground rule, judgment-free zone. So, okay, and about that too, is that everyone's honesty and curiosity is welcome. If I did not already say that, there's no good or bad, right or wrong here. It just is, okay? And it's all welcome. So that's ground rule number 1. Ground rule number 2 is keep a child's mind, okay? Only stay here with us if you're willing to keep an open mind, if you're willing to try these ideas on in a new way. We're going to be talking about some really simple ideas, some that maybe you've heard before, and still they're really powerful concepts when implemented effectively that requires you to keep an open mind, okay? So bring a blank slate, child's eyes. Hear what I'm saying as though it's being said to you for the first time. Try it on like it's new, okay? And the third ground rule is to keep a confidential space, okay? What happens here stays here. If people share experiences in the comments, I'm not as worried about the content staying here. I'm like, spread this like wildfire, please, people need it, but just keep a confidential, respectful space, okay? Only stay here if you're willing and able to keep a sacred, confidential space. And trust me, I realize that this is Facebook. it's a live stream on Facebook, right? So it's not really that private, and I am working on finding a different home for these classes in the future. So on that note, make sure that you get connected if you want to stay in the loop when these aren't on Facebook anymore. That time will be coming soon. Still, let's please respect this space as a confidential space, a judgment-free zone while we're here together, okay? And if you're still here after hearing those 3 ground rules, judgment-free zone, child's eyes, keep a blank slate mind, and confidential space, yay! Amazing. Thank you for still being here. I'm so happy to have you. Thank you for taking this time out of your day. I appreciate you joining me and creating a space where everyone can receive exactly what they need for their own highest good, for the highest good of every single person and situation in your lives, in our lives, okay? So let me quickly check for questions before we proceed. I do not see anything. So we will forge ahead. Okay. You should know I had a whole bunch of amazing content created for this class, and I decided to scrap it all yesterday and start fresh and do something different, something better, something special for you guys. I'm going to introduce you to 3 foundational components of mental wholeness, okay? Acceptance, body love, and clarity, and teach you how to implement them throughout the holidays so you can maintain consistent energy, center, sanity through all of those challenges we were talking about earlier, okay? Mental wholeness itself is the experience of feeling totally complete and good enough, whole, spacious, fulfilled, free, expansive, you name it. What does it mean for you? Consistently. Okay, consistency is the key. Not just on the good days, not just feeling great when things are going well, but feeling great, feeling whole, regardless of the circumstances happening around you, regardless of if you're going through challenging times or not, which allows you to build consistency and create amazing results in your life on a regular basis. It's a strong, solid foundation for you to move from to achieve literally any goal that's in front of you. It's a way to use your authenticity, your emotions to your advantage in life so you can be more successful, whatever that means to you. So acceptance, body love, and clarity, what we'll be talking about here today, make up what I call the ABCs of mental wholeness. It's like the foundation for the foundation, okay? When you're building a solid foundation for a real life structure like a house, the first step is picking a good spot with good soil and start digging, right? That's what we're doing here. We're setting up shop in a spot that'll support you in all of your endeavors moving forward, hopefully long after the holidays are over, but definitely through this holiday season. So another really quick look for questions before we proceed, and I still do not see anything, though I am seeing some love. Thank you guys for your emojis. I certainly love seeing emojis fly across the screen, and I'm so grateful for those of you that are here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope it's helpful. Okay, so onward to the first step of feeling energized, centered, and sane throughout the holiday season. The first stop is acceptance, okay? So acceptance is defined as the action of agreeing to receive or undertake something that's being offered to you. Let me repeat that. Acceptance is defined as the action of agreeing to receive or undertake something that's being offered to you. It's also defined as the action or process of being received as adequate or suitable, typically to be admitted into a group. Acceptance. So for the purpose of our conversation today, I want you to consider your circumstances, your surroundings, your challenges, your loved ones, every aspect of yourself as something that's being offered specifically to you by the universe, by your unconscious mind, for your own benefit, even if the benefit isn't obvious to you yet, okay? What I'm encouraging you to do is to say, and you can repeat out loud after me if you will right now, or maybe type it into the comments if you're in a place that you can't really speak out loud, but really take this on, okay? Take this challenge on, even if it's just for the next hour while we're here together. Are you ready? Repeat after me. Everything in my life is adequate and suitable. Everything in my life is adequate and suitable. This is meant for me. This is meant for me. Okay, you with me? It all has a purpose, even if I can't see it yet. It all has a purpose, even if I can't see it yet. And now I'm consenting to receive my surroundings with an open heart. I'm consenting, agreeing to receive my surroundings with an open heart, to receive all of the pleasure and the lessons that come along with it. Amazing. And I'll just repeat that again because it's so important. Really take this on today. Everything in my life is adequate and suitable. This is meant for me. It all has a purpose, even if I can't see it yet. I'm consenting to receive my surroundings with an open heart, to receive all of the goodness and all of the lessons that come along with it. Good. Good, thank you. So let me break this down for you a little bit more because this is an important topic, acceptance. This topic is 100% related to every single challenge that I dragged you through earlier at the beginning of this video. All of the reasons that the holidays are challenging, this is related, but it's especially related to the whole family dynamics thing. Okay, acceptance, truly though it is related to everything. Why? Because a lot of strife is created when we're feeling the gap between what we want and what we actually have right now. We get resentful of our surroundings and of ourselves for not being different than we are or in a different place than we are, right? It's difficult to be in that space of wanting something that you don't quite have yet. The place that this really becomes obvious is with the people around us. We start asking, like, why do they act like that? What are they thinking? Why do they do that? And we resent the people around us for not being who we want them to be, which is probably the most infuriating thing because we can't change other people, right? That's why acceptance is so clearly illustrated when it comes to your relationships with other people. But the conflict between being where we are, being apart from what we want, it also shows up during challenging times pretty clearly too. Like, we don't want to be dealing with the challenge that's in front of us, especially if it's during a celebratory time like the holidays. We don't want to be dealing with grief. We don't want to be dealing with depression or seasonal depression. We don't want to be dealing with social anxiety or whatever it might be. So we judge ourselves for not handling things better. We do everything we can to ignore that it's even an issue. We feel ashamed about our financial success or our weight or whatever. We have trouble accepting where we are because we so strongly want to be somewhere different. Okay, that's the gap that we're talking about here. So we spend our time fretting about that difference, wishing it were different. Okay, this is an example of like rejection of what is, or resistance to what's going on around you, which is the opposite of acceptance that we're striving for. Okay, all of it sounds really exhausting. Honestly, it is really exhausting to be resisting your entire world around you because you don't feel like it's good enough. You don't feel like it's complete or whatever. And In truth, accepting ourselves, our people, and our situations exactly as they are right now is the first step to creating a different experience for ourselves. At the very least, it feels a lot better to accept than it does to resist. It feels a lot lighter than resistance or judgment. And at best, acceptance paired with like a deep understanding gives us a very clear, accurate observation of where we're starting from in our lives, so that we can cherry pick the steps that we want to take moving forward that will close that gap between where we are currently and where we want to be. And the truth is that we are always going to be wanting more than we currently have. Always, 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 always. We're always going to be wanting more than we have. When we achieve one thing, when one thing shifts in our relationship, when we, reach one financial goal, when we lose a certain amount of weight, we just set our focus to the next thing that we want. It's human nature. It's natural. So rather than fighting against it, use acceptance as a way to free up your energy, stay centered and grounded in what is, comfortable in what is, and keep yourself sane during the holidays, okay? Fully accept your people as they are right now. Learn to understand them and love them for being who they've always been, even if it's different than you, even if they see things differently or act differently than you do. You can start asking questions from a place of acceptance that help you understand where they're coming from a little bit better. And usually people find out that there's some common ground when they can make acceptance a practice like this, okay? So also accept the fact that their actions, the actions of other people, have very little to do with you. Very little to do with you. And recognize that if the things that someone else is saying or doing are upsetting to you, if those things are upsetting to you, it says way more about you and the things that you still have left to work on inside of yourself than it says about them. Okay, when somebody else is doing something and it has no impact on you, but you're just like, oh, that's weird, then that certainly says more about them than about you. You don't necessarily need to make it about you if it's not about you, but if you're feeling some sort of way about it, then that does say something about what's unresolved in you. So hopefully that's clear. It's a hard truth to swallow, and regardless of the situation, though, it really is true. You're the only one who has control over the way you're feeling. You can't expect other people to take responsibility for that. It will never work. We're striving for a good feeling, like a feel good that's unconditional, right? Unconditional, it's consistent, regardless of the circumstances that are going on around you. Something that lives inside of you and draws other people into you naturally. When you rely on other people to make you feel good, that's codependence. It will never work. And it works the same way with negative feelings. If you feel that someone else is responsible for your negative feeling, that's also codependence. Insisting that other people are the reason for the way that you're feeling does so much more harm for everyone involved than it does good. So please listen to me. Acceptance is your first step here. Okay, accept your situation for what it is. Open your arms for the lessons that you can learn, and open your arms for the renewed clarity and faith that can come from weathering those challenging parts of the process. This builds trust that the cycle will move to a new place over and over and over again. The more you accept and embrace the fact that it is a never-ending cycle, the smoother life will flow. Okay? Having challenging times just means that you're normal. So congratulations. And where does acceptance all start? Any guesses? It all starts inside. Okay, every single part of yourself internally needs to be accepted. Anything that you're having trouble accepting outside is usually reflecting something that isn't being accepted inside. So that's where it starts, accepting everything about yourself, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it. A great question to ask yourself here is, what am I most resisting or judging in my life right now? And ask yourself, let me know in the comments, what are you most resisting or judging in your life right now? Then revisit this as often as possible while doing what you can to love the crap out of whatever comes up. Like, thank it for teaching you lessons and helping you get clear about what you want and what you deserve moving forward. If you're not sure exactly what you need to be more accepting of in your life right now, then pretty please leave a comment, tag me, especially if you're watching the replay, and I will help make this real for you. I really, really want to make this real for you. So let me check the comments before I move on. I see some people joining, some more people giving me emojis. I appreciate you. Thank you for sticking with me, those of you who are still here. Please, please leave me comments. Let me know how things are resonating. Let me know how I can help. I really want you guys to have an amazing holiday season. So, and I'm also talking a million miles a minute because we just have so much amazing stuff to get through. Okay, so onward to the B of the ABCs, which is body love. Body love. And P.S., backtrack, the first step here is acceptance too, okay? To truly love your body is to accept it exactly as it is right now, without judging it, without resenting it, or whatever. Okay, regardless of what's going on, just loving your body and accepting it exactly as it is, with the extra weight, with the illnesses, with the injuries, with whatever little intricacies you have in your body that you think are weird, or, you know, whatever. You love it. You just have to love it exactly as it is right now. That's the first essential part of body love. Like, none of the rest of it will matter if this isn't in place, okay? So as with any love relationship, this is a love that will build over time. It matches the amount of effort that you're willing to give and how much of a priority you're willing to make that relationship. But your body deserves your love right now, regardless of what's going on, period, full stop, okay? So, but we already talked about acceptance, so let's move on. New horizons. So how can you use body love for smoother sailing during the holidays? It's simple. Listen. Listen to your body and follow its rhythms. Observe the natural cycles that your body goes through, that the world around you, that nature goes through, and work within those cycles as much as possible. The kind of, like I said, winter is a time of year where we're naturally craving a little hibernation, reflection, letting go of what's old, which can be painful when we resist it and really beautiful when we embrace it. It's exactly the same thing. Your body is painful when you're resisting its cycles, and it's a really beautiful experience when you learn to embrace it. So if this seems impossible to you, I really encourage you to try it and get curious for a week. Try it for a week. Try it for a day. Hell, just try it for the rest of this time that we spend together. Just try it for a little bit of time and see what happens, okay? If you've been going on overdrive for a long time, then yeah, it might feel a little overwhelming at first. Okay, and you might as well rip off the Band-Aid and get started now, okay? Because the longer you wait to listen to what your body is trying to tell you, the longer it's going to take you to recover once you finally cave in and start listening. I only hope that you'll make the choice before your body forces you to make it, because your body or your circumstances or whatever will force you to listen eventually, one way or another, okay? It's not so much fun when you're being forced to do it. It's much more pleasant when you're working in flow with what your body wants and needs, rather than resisting against it until you can't resist any longer. So be proactive, okay? Learn to ask your body what it needs and wants to do on a daily basis. Ideally, you can stay connected to this on a moment-to-moment basis. Practice is perfect. Your ability will grow over time if you make this a priority. And body connection is really a great key to effective decision-making, which I've talked about in past videos before. Deciding what events to say yes to and what events to say no to. Deciding what foods and drinks to eat or not to eat or drink. What money to spend, what hours to work, what responsibilities to take on. It's also the key to building consistency over time, because if you'll notice, usually what takes us out is like a sickness, or just being so tired that we can't like get out of bed, or emotions that come to the surface and take us out. When you're really making a practice of paying attention to those things moment to moment, day to day, you're able to be much more consistent, because it doesn't surprise you. You don't need weeks, months, years to recover. Maybe you need a day or a couple hours every now and then. You stay on top of it, okay? So a great way to really connect to this right now is to take some deep breaths. So wherever you are, just take a couple deep breaths with me. Really sink into your body. You can like maybe circle your hips around a little bit in your seat. It doesn't even need to be obvious. Just like sink into your body and ask, what does yes feel like? What does yes feel like? And take another big deep breath and ask, what does no feel like? What does no feel like? Notice if there's a difference. Notice what that experience was like for you. Did you want to close out of the window and leave? Did you not really feel that much at all? Did you feel something different? I would love to hear what your experience was like, so please leave it in the comments, okay? For me, when I first started doing this, it started as like a simple sensation in 2 different parts of my body, which I was like, okay, that's cool. And now that I'm practiced, I'm seasoned, like I ask my body for feedback regularly, like at least 10 times a day, I would say, on a bad day. So now when I say no, even when I was just leading you through this, no is like a full-blown wag. Like my hips want to go right, left. And yes is like forward, back. And I can feel inside, like when I ask for a yes or a no, I can feel that my body wants to move in that way. I can hear the answer in my head. And sometimes if it's not super clear, I might have to ask a second or a third time, but it doesn't take more than 5 seconds to do, okay? That wasn't necessarily the case at first, but again, practice is perfect. And the important part is to follow the guidance unapologetically, which is, again, practice makes perfect. It's kind of challenging to follow unapologetically at first, but with practice, you'll learn that these are very good decisions to make. So that's where the magic really happens. It's really one thing to get the internal guidance. It's a totally different thing to follow the internal guidance, but the following part is important, and it builds trust with your body. So another obvious and important suggestion when it comes to making body love work for you during the holidays is self-care, okay? That serves and nourishes and relaxes your body. So this is especially important if you had absolutely zero response access to your body's yes or no, okay? If you had absolutely zero access to what feels like yes, what feels like no, then listen up. You need to do some serious self-care, okay? Good self-care practice can lure those answers out more and more over time as your body comes to learn that you'll listen to it, builds that trust, right? And as your body learns that you're prioritizing treating yourself well and following the guidance that it gives you. So take really good care of your body. Challenge yourself to carve out more relaxation and self-care time than actually feels normal for you. Then double it, okay? Double it. Just why not? Double it. Because you deserve it, okay? And you need it this time of year. Be persistent about reminding yourself how much you deserve that time. It's a crucial part of feeling the benefit of self-care, to really reminding yourself how much you deserve it, like really persistently, okay? So some ideas. What are your favorite ways to take care of yourself? Let's hear the creative ideas in the comments that you have for self-care, okay? Like get massages or facials or manicures or pedicures, or get a professional shave if you're a gentleman. Get a haircut, gentlemen or ladies. Hair treatments, take extra care, bring extra mindfulness to your like existing beauty routines. You know, if you put lotion on your face, be really mindful about how it feels while you're putting lotion on your face or lotion on your hands or whatever. Take breaks to smell essential oils or to seek out smells that you love. Go for walks outside. And for the love of God, if you want to say no to something so badly so that you can just stay in and watch freaking Netflix for an evening, do it. Do it. Geez, just do it, okay? Without judging yourself about it. Because if you're going to judge yourself about it, you might as well just not even do it. Seriously, back to what I said about the whole deservingness part. If you feel like you don't deserve it, it's not going to work. Period. You really have to be persistent about reminding yourself that it's okay to take that time. The list here about how you can take good care of yourself is endless, and it's really all about your personal preference, what feels good for you. So another really big important part of body love that we can't cover in depth here, but that I always cover in depth with one-on-one clients, is emotional expression, okay? Your emotions are a physical experience. So if you're having resistance to this, to connecting with your body, there's a really good chance that you've shoved some things down emotionally that you don't want to feel. Like you shoved them down for a good reason, I'm sure. We always have a good reason for it. Again, I really encourage you though to rip the Band-Aid off. Start, as you sink into your body and you build that trust, things will start to bubble up to the surface. And that's, I think, why a lot of people are resistant to connecting to their body in like a real deeply fulfilling way, because it feels scary. We've been taught to avoid the crap out of feeling our emotions. Even in the mental health industry, you know, if it feels broke, then slap a pill on it, which we're not going to go into again, but I really encourage you to rip the Band-Aid off and start feeling a little bit more, okay? Like feel all the feels. This is one of the strategies that I wanted to share in the original content that I scrapped, was feel all the feels. Like feel the sad, feel the happy, feel the wonder, feel the loss, feel the anger, the disappointment, the resentment, rejection, whatever comes up. You can learn to let your body kind of roll through whatever it is that surfaces. And keep in mind that the emotions we're feeling, like, yes, even sadness, anxiety, grief, whatever, they are not the problem 99% of the time. Our resistance to feeling it, our repression of the emotion is the real problem. That's when it gets really exhausting and uncomfortable, because the emotions will never go away that way. They'll just like stay there, and they'll get bigger and bigger and bigger until you're literally just too exhausted to even hold the cap on anymore, okay? They need to be expressed if you want to truly be liberated from them. So they are normal reactions to your life experience. I can't emphasize that enough. And remember that you are the one who experiences emotion. You are the only one who has power to create new feelings for yourself. When this is done well, it's really a benefit to everyone around you. Again, this is something that I cover much more in depth with clients, but I would be remiss if I didn't at least mention emotional expression to you guys when it comes to the body. I would really encourage you to get some support around that. Speaking of which, before we move forward, I'd love to bring to your attention that I do have something for those of you who really want to take this to the next level and get some personalized suggestions about how to implement it in your life. These things don't happen in a vacuum. I have a holiday offer happening right now. It's 50% off a $300 service, which is either an epiphany session, or if you're here in Rochester, I'm hosting Fall in Love with Money. It's a 3-hour workshop, a group workshop that's coming up in December. So you can use the code thank you, all caps, no space, at checkout for either of those services. It's only available through tonight. Don't hesitate to let me know if you need help getting set up, and I will get you sorted. And now let me check. Oh, hello. There's so many comments. Rebecca, thank you so much for being here. It's so good to see you. And I don't know what message you love so much, but I love you for loving. And Josiah, hey Josiah, thank you for being here, telling me to tell it. I dig it. Thank you. And yes, Rebecca, listening to your body is so important. Oh, I'm so glad that you guys are here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. And if you missed any of it, the replay will be up. So I'm so happy to see you guys here. Thank you. Whew. And for our third and final concept, we are on to clarity, okay? We'll be brief as possible because we've been here for a while. I told you there was a lot to get through, so hopefully your heads aren't exploding on the other side of your computer screen. Thank you for sticking with me. Clarity. Clarity, the C of the ABCs of mental wholeness. Clarity is the quality of being clear. It's the quality of being easy to see or hear. This is how it's defined. Sharpness of image or sound. The quality of being clear, the quality of being easy to see or hear, sharpness of image or sound. Clarity, okay? Like a clear image. When I talk about clarity, it's all about getting really clear about what you want and what you're working towards. When you're clear about what you want, you become much more able to articulate it effectively and create it for yourself, which is a very important piece of navigating through this holiday experience in a pleasant way, okay? It can be so easy sometimes to really focus on the things that we don't like in our surroundings. And you might notice that acceptance, body love, clarity, they really weave in and out with each other. They are better together, okay? It can be really easy to focus on the things that we don't like in our surroundings, and I'm really encouraging you now, the way I encourage all of my clients, to constantly seek clarity about what you truly desire moving forward. So I found this to be like the biggest key to navigating out of challenging times and challenging emotions. Always seeking clarity, or at very least trusting that the clarity will come eventually if you're curious and if you're open to it, okay? Again, trusting that the cycle will move as we embrace it, as it always does. So there are two main things that will really help you make clarity work for you during the holiday season, okay? First, picture what you want, not what you expect. So picture what you want. Picture what you want. When you imagine the parties, the gift giving, the family interactions, the food, the work-life balance, and whatever else you're picturing, Think about it the way that you want it. Think about it the way that you would love for it to feel, to look, to hear, smell. Think about it the way that you want it, okay? As opposed to preparing yourself for the worst, as a lot of us tend to do. Because the worst thing that you can do is keep low expectations. It's the worst thing that you could do, because you will prove yourself right every time when you keep really low expectations. The next best thing is no expectations at all. Feeling totally open to whatever happens, not really expecting anything. And the best case scenario, though, is an authentic, fully felt, positive expectation where you're still open to whatever happens. You're ready to be accepting of whatever shows up, right? And you truly expect deep down in your bones that the world will surprise you and delight you in unexpected ways. Even if it doesn't always look the way that you thought it might, when you keep this positive expectation, the things that show up will often be much better than you ever could have anticipated. So when you keep clarity in mind to picture it the way that you want it, okay? Use your clarity to picture things the way that you want it. That's a really great way to get yourself through the holiday season and see what opens up for you, okay? The second piece of this is that you want to remember that any negative emotion, any challenging time that comes up, you could also call this a contrasting experience, something that doesn't feel right? Anytime something like that happens, it's fuel to strengthen and refine your sense of clarity about what you want moving forward. Nothing helps you identify what you want more than the absence of it or the opposite of it. So when challenging emotions or times come up, by all means, feel them through. You know, I'm a proponent of feeling everything and accepting everything. And lead yourself back to a place of, how can I feel better moving forward? What do I actually want instead of this? Rather than just focusing on what's going on right now, what do I want instead of this? How can I take more control over creating this for myself? How can I take the reins and create that I want for myself? What action can I take to create that for myself? Okay? You only want to get as specific as feels good. At first, a simple, how do I want to feel, will help you gain some clarity around this, like keeping it kind of broad. Maybe you want to feel spacious or free or expansive. Maybe you just want to feel good. Maybe you just want to feel awesome. And awesome, I remember I had a client who said she wanted to feel awesome, and I was like, well, what does awesome even mean? You know, we started from awesome, and then we got more specificity with time as it made itself clearer to her, right? So you only want to get as specific as it feels good to do. Keeping it kind of broad can work to cultivate whatever it is you're looking for right away, and then add more detail to the picture as it naturally comes to you. So again, if it doesn't feel good and exciting to get more specific, stop. Don't, okay? A big player here is really believing that what you're picturing is possible. If you don't believe that it's possible or real, the imagining is not ever going to feel good. So we don't really have time to go into the whole beliefs thing right now, but I have definitely made videos about beliefs specifically and adjusting beliefs in the past. So let me know if you need help finding that. And again, the reason I'm bringing up the beliefs is that if it feels uncomfortable to either picture things as you want, first thing, right, or use the contrast, the negative emotions, the challenges to get more specific about what you want, if you don't believe those things are possible, it's going to make you feel bad. So you have to find, and I've literally laid out processes that you can use even without me in videos to restructure, reframe beliefs for yourself. There's a lot of information out there on beliefs, but if you don't believe it's possible, it's not going to feel very good. Okay? So, goodness gracious. I think that's really all I have for you guys today, and maybe I did talk too fast because we're over much quicker than I thought we would be. Let me make sure. Oh, hello. I see that Michael Murphy left a comment. You couldn't stay for the whole thing, but this was great. Thank you. Thank you for watching. I hope that you're catching the rest in the replay. I would really love to hear from you and anybody what the takeaways are for you. It really helps me to hear what's resonant, like what would you like more of, what would you like less of, so I can tailor these things for the amazing people like you who actually do really want the content, you know, and I hope that it's been beneficial for everyone who's here. Thank you guys so much for all your comments. That's really all I have for you. And again, for those of you who do want to take this a step further and get more personalized guidance about how to actually implement this in your life, there is a holiday offer on the table. It is 50% off a $300 service, which is either an epiphany session or the in-person workshop I have coming up in December called Fall in Love with Money. It's going to be a really fun workshop. I won't tell you a ton about it now, but use the code THANKYOU, all caps, no spaces, at checkout. There is a link up on my page, and let me know if you need any help getting it set up. My email is info@briannamcnerney.com. That's info@BRIANNAMCINERNY.com. So that's it. So much love to you. Thank you so much for sticking with me. I had a blast creating this for you and delivering this to you, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon in the future. I hope you all have amazing, happy holidays. Thank you.